These views are not representative of fandom.com. Also, viewer discretion is advised because this podcast can get quite unrefined at times.
Like, no! I don't want to see your half-decomposed sausage!
Now recording.
This is what you waited for, and it's you that they all adore. So baby, I'm shining light for everyone, living out your...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bleach Wiki Podcast. I'm Lemurs.
I'm alive. Maybe.
Son! I'm sorry, I got so laughing. I'm Son. Straight, serious face. Son.
And I'm the furry. Not really.
Well, that was invigorating. So, today we're going to do a recap of the first arc of the Bleach anime, the Substitute arc. But before we do that, just a little bit of housekeeping. So, we are now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you want to listen to us on the go and don't have YouTube easily right in front of you, just search us at Bleach Wiki Podcast. All right, I guess we should actually start talking about shit now.
Where do we start? I mean, when the fuck was our last episode? January?
No, last month.
Cool.
What? I've noticed someone's taken over your job in the HD pics, man. It's up there. Gonna stimulate into a rivalry here, Muncie. This'll wake them up. Someone's taken over your job. What's going on there? Who's that? Uploading these HD pics.
He's a guy with access to stuff I don't have, so I don't care.
I'd care, but I just don't wanna.
No, I literally do. I do not have
There we go. Are
HD
you awake?
photos of those episodes, so who gives a shit? Plus, it's 50 ahead of where I am now. So why should I just be undoing it and be like, no, it's my job. The fucking asshole you think I am?
Does nobody notice that I deliberately said that so that he would wake up and say something that required him to think, and he's still going, and it's like, oh, it worked so beautifully?
I
Just
can
saying.
think.
Carry
Fuck
on.
you. Jesus.
I know you can. That's why I did it. I made you think. I didn't say you. I said you weren't thinking. I said I made
Don't
you
you
think.
dare take
I didn't say
credit
you
for that.
couldn't.
Fuck you.
All right, speaking of thinking, Future, do you want to give some stats about what the first arc of Bleach is about and when did it air?
Not.
Okay, so first arc of Bleach began airing on October 5th, 2004 in Japan. The story is about a little boy.
I was just a young man of 15 with ripped muscles and a big boobied woman.
A little boy who gets ghost powers and starts fighting ghosts. It also has like this black costume and fights the box ghost. Oh wait.
That's right. Shit. They did air the same year, didn't they? Oh Christ.
The box ghost, huh?
I am the box ghost. Fear me.
Oh my god.
It's Danny Phantom.
Do you know what we need? Like to have like a non-Bleach like podcast sometimes, so you two can like explain half the stuff you use.
Well, yeah, no,
I have no idea who you're talking
culture
about. I'm
and
really old.
Irish.
I'm feeling my age.
L plus Irish plus don't care, so on and so forth.
My people did a rebellion for your people during the middle of World War One. You think it'd be a bit grateful,
because
like
you don't know
we
Danny
distracted the
Phantom,
Brits
so
for a wee bit,
out.
sort of. I guess
Sorry,
not really.
I'll make the rules.
Who's Danny Phantom? Who's Danny Phantom?
Well, he's got to catch them all because he's Danny Phantom.
He's a phantom.
What?
I'm just.
Is this like an abridged guy? Is it like something like that?
No. Danny Phantom was a show that aired on Nickelodeon in the early 2000s that was quote unquote created by Butch Hartman, as in created, he just
No,
came up with a random idea and a bunch
Can
of
I just be clear on this? I was late teenager, early 2000s for anyone, just for context here on why I'm not watching Nickelodeon. But carry on. Also, I was poor, but yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so Danny Phantom was created, and since this is audio, you can't see my air quotes, by Butch Hartman, as in he literally just gave a random idea, and a bunch of other more talented people made the first 2 seasons before he came in the 3rd season and fucking ruined everything. It was about a boy with ghost powers, and a lot of DeviantArt came from it.
Okay, right. I see the relevancy. Right, got you. Yep. Was he ginger?
No, he was not a ginger.
Damn. I don't know. It sounded like it would have been ginger. I don't know. It's sometimes. So I think we should rank the manga and the anime based on pacing and stuff like that. You know, like how well it
Pacing.
got to a certain point, how
Pacing
well
in
maybe
the
something conveyed
anime.
feelings in a different way, and maybe. So I haven't got there yet. Right, okay, some people might have different experiences. Chillax, man. I'm just saying, you know, I'm not right. Stop it. This is literally like spoiler warning. What I'm fucking suggesting. You're going, oh yeah, like
Uh-huh.
Yes, spoiler warning for the series that came out 21 years ago.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant spoiler warning for Sill's fucking feelings
Oh,
on the
I would never
matter. It's like, is
stop.
that not the entire point of this? Stop. Fine. 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 Like maybe Brave Souls did a good piece.
I can't believe it.
It's actually not too bad. It's for a free to play game, but I know it's gacha and pay to win, like, but it's still not too bad.
I've only paid
Alright.
$10 in the entire game's existence, so that's only because I wanted Nell's shit.
Yeah, I think I bought Nell back when it was
Alright,
like
in
a
that
bit of
case,
Ginner
you
shit.
want-
That
it-
one,
it-
yeah,
Yeah.
me
Let's,
too.
let's do manga
Totally.
first for a proper contrast.
You always get suckered once. You can't help it. Are we going to talk about the pilot chapter, or maybe we should do a special because Shiffy really likes that chapter? Maybe we should do one with him or something like that and talk about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the pilot chapter is best left as its own thing. It's like a short bonus episode, just because
wanna
it's
give, like,
interesting.
Well, do you want to give away a short, a short, like, just say, like, by the way, there was like one done before the manga, just to say, so just for context.
Yeah, maybe talk about zombie powder too, just to see how it like influenced Bleach. Like maybe just make an episode that's all like Taikubo's other work. Maybe throw Burn the Witch in there.
I haven't read Zombie Powder, and it's been forever since I read the one shot, so I'll let Lemurs talk about those. She probably remembers more than I do. My review or overview of the first arc in the manga is that it was cut criminally short and was the most interesting part of the story. Basically, it was the only part of the story where Kubo was fully allowed to set the characters in an urban environment and have slice of life comedy and chapters alongside fighting, and have character development occur outside of fighting, and not have the entire series revolve around fighting and battles and training and fighting and more battles and more training and na. Yeah. And
Oh, believe it. Sorry. I'm just saying there might have been
I
context
don't
on why
think
someone
Kubo
might
was
have been
influenced. I
influenced to
think
go
he
that
was
direction.
forced.
I think a lot of it too was Kubo was very paranoid about getting canceled or shortened again, which is what happened with Zombie Powder. That I think he listened more to what his editor was saying rather than what he thought made sense. I mean, I don't know the guy. That's just what I'm kind of assuming went down. And I think Kubo actually was onto something, because a lot of the spiritual successors of Bleach, like Jujutsu Kaisen, I mean, that's basically Bleach, but like a more refined version of it, at least of the substitute arc, because you can see there's a lot of similarities between Jujutsu Kaisen and Bleach. Like clearly there's a lot of inspiration from like the style, the fighting. So I think maybe had Bleach come out later, I think kind of the urban fighting genre would have gone over better. I mean, but this was still like the early 2000s, and bottle blah blah battle manga was still pretty much the king of the genre at that point. So I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and like the other thing is,
He
I
tried
think he
twice,
tried to
actually.
go back to that sort of thing with
He tried
the
2
Fullbring arc,
times.
but we all know how that turned out.
They hated it over there.
He tried to go back twice. The first was the earlier Ronker arc. The second was the Fullbring arc. The Fullbring arc just made it a little more down to earth. But the earlier Ronker arc was set in Karakura Town. The humans were irrelevant again. It wasn't quite back to slice of life, but like there was more interaction. It was good. It was a good balance between Soul Society and the first arc. And then it's like, oh, let's go to Mexico. and the humans were, yeah, it's just like, and then after, God, what was it? Like
7
20
years
volumes
later.
of them fighting in like basic buildings and desert and like just nothing going on but the Shinigami and the Arankar. We finally go back. Uh,
Yeah, and also for those not aware, Kubo gave an interview a number of years ago saying around 2009, 2010, he actually thought about ending Bleach because he was getting so burnout. And in hindsight,
so
kind of looking.
sorry, I'm not even talking about like minimal effort put into backgrounds or anything. Just the fact that like it was just not much to look at compared to or it was not much going on in the setting compared to who are the two characters we're focusing on fighting in the moment. Okay, that's it. That's kind of it for the story. There's not much like going on around them because like fucking Lost Noches is
Yeah, because like because it was basically just a few buildings and then like some sand. Sand. It's coarse and it's rough and it gets everywhere, and that's all.
I
We got.
think it kind of also reflect because see that scene that Kubo actually animated, well, spoiler alert, that where Hitsu stabs Hinamori, like that scene could have been done so much better on old Kubo. Like, do you remember his old style? Like at times you were really like taken out of the moment, like holy shit, like take from the way like he used to do it, and there it was like it just felt like kind of, oh, by the way, she's here, and it's like, okay, didn't kind of look like that you could have pulled that off, but okay, it did. Whereas like before, it looked like Eisen could have done those things like a lot with his art because he was more invested in the art. Did that come out right?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Definitely like the composition of like the panels, definitely like the later half of the Arankar arc. It's not bad, but it's definitely not as interesting. Where in like the Soul Society arc, like the characters were literally coming off the page and some other cool styling choices. I do think we actually got that back in the Thousand Year Blood War arc, but I just think like the late 2000s, around like 2009 to like 2011, Kubo just was not in a good headspace.
As someone doing like images for years and years and having to go back, because like I remember when I started out really on the wiki doing hard editing, it was Orihime's article really needed developed, and so I was doing it, and I really went overboard, so it kind of cropped it down at the time because nobody was ready for my intense need to have too much information on the page yet. But so I noticed like the style always felt a bit more computerized in the later Rankar Hueco Mundo arcs, especially for like a character like Orihime. She became looking more plastic in like the profile pictures and even stuff like that. Did that feel like anything that people noticed, or was that just me?
No, I think at that point,
It felt like it was relying more on CGI at that point. I think
a lot of it is that the assistants, since Kubo was starting to have a lot of chronic health issues at that point, the assistants are probably helping more than they probably previously did. I mean, I still believe Kubo did all the line work, but yeah.
The detailing, like, yeah.
I mean, isn't that the
Is
usual
that
process.
yeah?
Like the
Like
only time
I
I
don't
really
know.
know
Maybe
of the
I don't know.
mangaka
I'm not
drawing
artistic, so I don't know words for this
every
stuff.
detail thing is for color pages and covers. Otherwise, it would be the team doing the line work for all the minute details.
Well, it depends on how big the mangaka is, really, right? Like how much sway and stuff they would have.
No, no. They might have more of a team, but they would still have a team regardless, because like that's how you get it out fast. It's the same thing with
Oh yeah, I mean, he still had a team, but I definitely think some of the creative choices he left more to his team. Because if you notice in later Bleach, the line work is more simplified, whereas early Bleach had like the lines and the neck, and it was a lot more detailed. Later on, it's
I
less
def.
complicated.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, like later on, like the actual character designs are way more simplified.
Like I felt like I don't think that he stayed like that. Do you know what I mean? It just didn't feel as inspired as Kubo could be in terms of artwork. It's just like and like you said, there's a reason for it. It's not condemning the guy or nothing. And please don't kill me. But like you can see in the scenes later on when Byakuya's death scene and Yamamoto's death scene, you can really see that it got back into those because you fucking felt those scenes. You did. Yeah, they did. They were impactful. So I do think he definitely got it back again. Whatever happened, but I still think he was still exhausted. He hadn't addressed the problem. So whatever happened later on in Bleach, he did seem ready to stop at the
No, I
time.
just want to call you the fact that you finally called it
I just
Byakuya's
think he
death
was
scene.
burnt out. But yeah, sorry. Stop.
After
Just in case Sil thinks I'm
after
cracking on the guy.
after 2,000 years, I win.
I know. I
My
said
win.
I did it to submit myself to you. There, it was a submissive gesture. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
He has to cling to that. And notice there, I gave in something. There we go.
I
Oh,
mean,
for
you
fuck's sake!
disagreed with the
Right, but they
point
were
of
still
the first
impactful
one.
scenes. I never denied that. Eh? I disagreed that it was in character, but it was still impactful. There's a difference in what I disagreed with. Don't you start this because I will go back because you said you're still maintaining that I hate Adam West. I'm like, I have corrected you on this years ago, and I'm like, I still love Adam West. Sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted to claim that even though it is literally the
I'm just really not really good at putting my point
from what
across
we're supposed
without
to be
sounding like
talking
an
about.
asshole. Apparently, I do apologize. But that's what we were just talking about. We were talking about the art, right? See, this is why first arcs confuse me. See, I need guidelines. I don't. I take off and I fly to. It's like flying to Australia when I just wanted to go to Spain.
All right. So now that we've kind of done like a rough history, let's talk more about the substitute arc.
Sorry, this is still the first arc, just like we're talking about, like the general ups and downs of it. Okay, sorry, sorry.
Yes, General. That's fine.
Because we mentioned it earlier, I briefly got it confused with the Lost Substitute. AKA the Fullbringer arc, the official name of it.
You mean the Chad arc, as I call it?
Yes, the Chad arc is definitely his time to shine.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Literally. I love my skin.
The Chad Fullbring arc versus the Virgin Reiki arc.
No, we are not starting that right now. No. Deny.
I would have just perfected it if in the anime they give do you ever see the rapey Kujo scene whenever he's revealed as the bad guy behind him? If they had to give him red eyes in the anime, I would have just perfected that scene.
Oh no, you know where that face actually came back? On the Nick Simmons video, the Twitter bird is actually a modified version of the
obviously
face from that episode at Deep Betrayal.
Oh my god. I'm inspired by this thing. I drew a line over and then sold it. I mean, everyone traces the practice sometimes, right? It's been way back in the start, though. That's like when you do the dots when you learn how to write too. But it's like, Jesus Christ, man. Sorry. We're talking about the right guy, right?
This
Nick
is
Simmons,
not
that's Gene
Kenpachi.
Simmons'
He
kid,
has
right?
gray hair.
This is not Orihime. This is totally
Huh.
my totally new character because like she's got blonde hair, not ginger. That one.
Look at my original OC that I totally made by myself.
So, my take on the first arc, because I reread it extensively in 2000 or 2020. Yeah, I read it before it came out because I'm a hipster. I'm that cool. My take is that it's honestly really good for what it is, even though a lot of it has kind of been changed around or foregone in the coming arcs and what people know Bleach more regularly as, in terms of like uh detail and specificity and how you supposed to fight hollows, in terms of Ichigo's friends that don't have powers being a focus, in terms of the sort of pathos related to hollows, where they're really more of a threat and they're more like tragic in nature, or not, than just like generic monsters to be kind of cut down. Um, I think that uh, it has really some pretty strong action scenes, even though it's not a bunch of crazy powers on display. And even though they're not like leveling mountains and shit yet, like it still manages to be cool. When you see like the peak of what someone can do and the sort of like the hidden iceberg of potential and power from like Urahara and Byakuya. Um, I wish that like you couldn't divide the manga between pre chapter 51 and post chapter 51, because that is literally the chapter where we get like the proper Shinigami and the training arc and all the shit that kind of just pushed everything else that was not related to it kind of the back burner for the next 20 years. Um, and it's not even I'm not one of those people who thinks like that everything after chapter 70 is non-canon. That's fucking stupid. Um, but I almost get it after rereading because it was almost a different manga before that change. I don't adhere to that idea, but I get it, even though I still think it is kind of dumb to go that route. Um, and yeah, no, you definitely get a more human connection with the author during writing that when you're reading stuff like Everything But the Rain, or wait, sorry, the Grand Fisher arc. I forget the chapter name. Memories in the Rain, as it was. Um, you get a more human connection to him and what he's writing about. When it's this, it's literally like half the volume is Ichigo explaining his sadness and not even fighting anything, and you just don't get that anymore with any character. It's literally like if I'm going to explain my past and I'm going to get in character development, it's gonna be while I'm fighting someone. That's it. It doesn't happen in a non-combat setting anymore because the two have to be intertwined after a certain point because I don't know, it sells, I guess. It's more popular. It I wish it didn't have to be that way, I guess.
Do you think that it's to do with the market that he's trying to market it to, maybe? Or maybe he should have went maybe attack what is it, seinen?
If he really, 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 really wanted to appeal to the Naruto audience, he would have had Ichigo be like, "I want to be the Captain Commander one day." Believe it. And but
Believe it!
Oh God.
Oh, wait, do you want me to do it in the voice?
Right,
Let me
right.
do it in the Naruto
No.
voice.
Let's not deny
no.
we have done
Tho- tho-
answers
tho-
podcast. Let's
those-
not deny that's literally what people thought was going to happen. Do you know some people?
Oh
Not us.
God,
Not
no,
us.
they did.
Do you
Yeah,
remember?
no.
Do you, it's every week. It's do you think Ichigo's going to be a captain? What one do you think he's going to be a captain of? And it's like he's fucking 15. He's 15 because he was only 15 at the time, and it's like he's 15.
And he's gonna marry Rukia and have all her babies.
Hold on. Before we go back, I wanted to point out that Lemur said that Ichigo was gonna have Rukia's babies, like some M-Preg shit was gonna happen. That's a new one.
Yes. It existed.
Of course it did. But no. The thing is, like, yes, if people like that, they lack critical reading comprehension. I'm just gonna say it. Because never once, even as the story and the manga in general
Comprehension,
took a
critical
shift
skills,
toward
critical skills.
toward
Critical
traditional
reading
action
comprehension,
with
believe
training, blah blah
it!
blah. Ichigo was never like, I'm gonna be the strongest. I'm gonna take this title. I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that back. I'm gonna get that grind and hustle and respect. It was never, ever like
I'm
that.
gonna
His
be the
goal
very
remained
best, the best there
consistent,
ever was.
thankfully. Yes. So he never gave up on that or changed it or like was like, one day it's like, I think I should be living in the afterlife as a captain with tons of responsibilities and paperwork.
Ichigo did not aspire to become a cop.
Yeah, and because of that, I've always assumed that's why it was less popular and more shit on than Naruto and One Piece. Even now, somehow, it is more shit on than Naruto. Because people think that like in order for a character to be relatable or to be good, they have to have this massive goal rather than just I want to protect my friends, which is achievable and realistic and doesn't work.
It's so much more realistic. See, when you have a goal is a happy ever after once you get there. It's a possibility of a happy ever after, whereas Ichigo doesn't really reflect that. So I think that a lot of people that are afraid of that possibility, that hey, it's not all going to stop one day and suddenly make sense, and someone will come to you and go, actually, this whole thing, you're the best and the best and the best. Ichigo doesn't do it that way. He's like basically, okay, shit, but no, I have responsibilities and always responsibilities. That's him all the time. It's all this whole story is about both Ichigo and arguably Rukia and his friends basically dealing with their past grief essentially because they all have really hard pasts by the sounds of things, and it's Ichigo didn't protect his mom and that's his complex thing, right? That is the consistency throughout it. It's he always wants to protect someone no matter what, right? Because
Yeah, that's his drive as a protagonist, is that I won't let this happen to anyone else. And the reason I've always liked Ichigo as a protagonist, he might not be the most interesting shonen protagonist, but he always felt like the most real to me. No, he like felt like an actual kid. And when I started reading Bleach, God, I was probably like 15 or 16. Ichigo felt like a real person that he could be my friend. He could be someone I could talk to and relate to. Like, no, don't get me wrong. I think to an extent, part one, Naruto is a great character. Luffy's a great protagonist too, but they're more idealized. Ichigo feels real. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having like a power fantasy character, but the thing that always brought me back to Bleach is that Bleach, especially in that first arc, it felt real. Like there was a sense of high fantasy to it, but it felt like a real thing that could happen.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Being set in the only of the big three being set in the actual, for real world, quote unquote, with a fake town and all that, whatever,
yeah,
uh, is probably another reason why people
yeah, he's like a
will
kid. He's
give it
basic.
less
Yeah,
slack
okay.
than the other two because it's not fantastical enough, or why Karakura Town? Why not Soul Society? Why not Mexico? Why are we here? Why are we in this boring location with all these? Why are we not? Why are we these humans that can't shoot laser beams out of their ass?
Oh, speaking of ass, the one thing, because we're gonna segue to the anime a bit, and this is something that I feel like really got lost in translation from the manga to the anime was a lot of early Bleach was fucking funny, like a lot of like black humor that for some inexplicable reason they cut out almost all of it. Like some of the stuff that was a little bit more risque. I get, Japanese broadcasters might not have been totally cool airing that at like 7 o'clock at night. But yeah, that's the one thing that kind of sucks is that a lot of early Bleach had like this really offbeat and out there humor, and it kind of sort of exists later in the manga, but of course pretty much that is cut from the anime too.
Of course it is. All the good stuff is. Yeah. But I'm amazed it even made it 20 episodes. I'm surprised they didn't just do one and just like fucking kill hyper exposit through the arc just to get to the money faster.
Hmm.
I mean, are you able to talk about that yet, or are we still on the manga?
I don't know where we're at right now.
Future, you're just so dazed and confused right now, and as I drop my lip balm.
I'm really
on the
sorry
desk.
because I needed to restart my computer in the middle of all that, so like I might have disconnected the conversation. My apologies. Sorry. You're gonna stop apologizing.
You
That's
literally
the
just
problem too,
apologized
sorry.
3 times in that
Yep.
one sentence.
I know, and I needed to. Don't make me, because I will again.
It's too late to apologize. It's too late.
You know?
It's a super YouTube apology.
It is. It's like, hold on, is there enough tears? Hold on, anyone got like some fake alternative tears?
Do you have the Notes app screenshot? Do you have it? Because it's not a real apology if you don't have it.
Hold on. We'll do a breath.
Yeah, you need a face.
I
You need a shot of your
let you
face
all
looking all
down.
teary, and it's just my
I-
apology.
God, I'm a really ugly crier, man. You're really, I'm a girl for a start, and so automatically it's gonna be like I'm a bitch looking for attention, and then but it's like, I have let you all down. It's like, but like I'm gonna make what I did about me. Like I'm not that person anymore. Like I'm not that person.
My
That's what I'm
fellow
gonna focus on,
Irishman, I
the
have
fact
not
that I
been
hurt people.
entirely truthful.
My fellow comrades.
It's about taking accountability.
Yeah, and I would like you to know that I am fine now with what I did. I forgive myself, so isn't it time for you to forgive me too?
But did you apologize to your cat?
Is it an Irish wolfhound cat?
It depends.
Then no, it doesn't matter. No, it has to be an Irish cat.
Right, so did you apologize to your cat?
I have one. Why am I getting the question? I didn't do the question. What did I do? Right, carry on. Sorry, carry on. I gotta stop talking. Someone take the shovel back, man! Jesus.
Why should we
It's gonna
take it from
strangle
you?
me.
Why do we? Are we,
Yeah, like I'm
obligated
digging myself in a deeper
contractually
hole.
to
They're
dig
not
ourselves into holes?
I'm digging a hole. It's the shovel. Take it back.
Okay.
No, it's just gonna end up. I'm
Alright,
gonna
if you
keep
say so.
talking, and then the podcast is gonna be me and my fucking digested sausage. That's what Future came back to. That's what Future came back to. In all my honesty, Future, please back me up here, Future.
No, we're not doing that.
If we're gonna be totally cringe, Manga Rukia would have been like super into Super Hulock.
You want to explain that to all of us that weren't on Tumblr?
All right, so Super Hulock was like a mega fandom made up of Supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock fans. It was Trey cringe. Like Rukia early in the manga.
Like the
she
Bible.
read like homoerotic horror manga. was looking for
Homoerotic
dead
manga
cats in
like the
streets.
Bible.
Yeah. For those who don't know, because I guess this is a goodest point ever to transition to like some differences in the anime, there was a scene that was cut from the anime where Ichigo and Rukia are training with pepper balls, and while Ichigo is attempting to hit the pepper balls, so to mimic hitting a hollow in the right place to purify it, Rukia is reading a homoerotic horror manga. In the anime, this is basically cut in with the scene where Orihime gets hit by a car, and Rukia is instead reading the Bible.
The Holy Bible. Oh, Lemurs, have we finally shifted into shitting on the anime?
I don't
Well,
know their
given
comfort.
actually, you know
Hey,
what? I just figured it out. No, hold on. I just figured it out. With how bad her
Oh.
drawing skills are, I think I
That-
figured out who made Joshua and the Promised Land.
Deep cut. Oh boy. Oh dear me.
It all makes sense now.
And the thing that makes the joke like even stranger in translation is that Rukia calls the Bible a piece of modern literature, which if you just tear back the layers, that doesn't make any sense because we know Rukia is at least 150 years old and Christianity was in was in Japan by the 19th century. So how the hell would Rukia not know
the
about the
19th
Bible?
century, there's evidence of it being in Japan by the 16th century, and they got wiped out, especially in Nagasaki. Yeah, so they knew what the Bible was. They just hid it.
Lemurs,
Sorry.
Lemurs, I'm sorry.
So-
I need you to make the thumbnail for this
Sam-
video a picture of Monkey Moses with like Rukia's face on it. That needs to happen now that I brought it up.
Yeah, I can do that. With like bad cosplay wig, yeah, no, it's happening. Also with a random Bible verse.
Lemurs, are we officially into the part of shitting on the anime?
Yes.
Oh,
you
boy!
want to go ahead? I know you've been waiting for this. This is like your birthday.
I mean, it was my birthday last week, but whatever.
Oh, happy late birthday.
Yeah. Well,
Happy birthday to you.
okay, so to overview this, so it's not another 2 hours they don't have. The anime is a massacre of the original storyline. The idea is that Pierrot basically wanted to rush as soon as possible into the Shinigami arc because the money was there, the merchandise potential was there, all the Shinigami, all their weapons, all that stuff. It was the more popular arc, so they did 70 chapters in 20 episodes, an average of 3.5 chapters per episode, and in some cases, 6 chapters per episode. And the result is a mess. The arc that they've rushed through. They still put in filler and padding, because logic. Logic, that's cool.
Oh, I'm gonna cut it too. Speaking of padding, oh my god, he's not my boyfriend shit from Rukia. Oh my god, just gouge my eyes out with a spoon.
Was that not in the manga?
No.
Do you want to discuss what scenes not in the manga here? Because I don't think I read the early manga much. Sorry.
Yeah. Who's that anime only like Shinigami? Ashi or whoever the fuck is. Anyway, he's not an
I
actual
know
character,
he's
so who
not
gives
because
a
I did that
shit?
fight, but I don't know much more about the kind of early, the scenes and stuff that are added there. I didn't really read it.
We'll get to it, but let's just say that like a lot of pandering nonsense and oh, poor Orihime. Pour one out for the girl.
Okay, so the insane pacing aside, with the last episode just having so much rush through, and so much unexplained, Orihime gets basically rewritten as a character. She's not adapted, she is changed fundamentally from her appearance in the manga. There's the issue of her voice actress in the Japanese anime, who is just super. It's not her fault because she's doing a job, but she is. Protect me! I have no idea if I'm even in the same pitch as her, but literally, there are multiple instances of her lines being rewritten so that she is less assertive, less confident, less standalone, she has less agency, and she instead is like, "Protect me, save me."
Tasukete Kurosaki-kun.
My favorite instance of this, and I say that as blood drips from my mouth, is the episode 20, adapting the part where they actually leave for Soul Society. Where in the manga, Orihime had actually been the first character to join Ichigo on the way to the Urahara shop and say, "I'm coming with you to Soul Society. Rugi's my friend. I'm joining you." And there's not really Yes, and Ichigo's like, all right, cool, I get that. I got your back. And then after that, there was no further question of it, no further
As
discussion.
in,
Just
she
this
was
is a
the one that
fact.
acted first.
She
Yeah.
shows up last in the anime and says, and I quote, "Please protect me, you guys." And that's it. That is that is the summation of what they did with her character, because it is that bullshit, and it carries over into the next arc, which we'll discuss in a future podcast. But it does not get better. And it is insulting. It is insulting because she is not a perfect character. She is not like the best female character ever, but she was way better than she should have been in the 2000s, in 2001 to 2.
Yeah, it doesn't get better.
No, it does not.
Like, and they're like, oh, actually, fuck that. That's the teenage boys want a sex object, so we're gonna give them that.
Oh god.
Yeah, the anime really fucked Orihime, like, didn't they? Like, they really assaulted your senses with her to make you hate her, I think.
I originally like never got Orihime haters. I'm like, why? Like, there's nothing wrong with her. And then kind of like rewatching the anime and having read the entirety of the manga, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I get why people don't like this character.
I get that's the way they portray women in anime. It's just, it's a trope thing, so it's very easy to fall into that kind of. But I think they made her crying out a lot worse in the anime than it was in the, and plus, because, well, it's a different medium, so you're getting more senses assaulted, and well, it feels like an assault when someone is saying Kurosaki-kun over and over and over and over and over in the highest frequency voice you can imagine. I think that really kind of influenced a lot of feel. Well, I think that is because that is what influenced my feelings, certainly after at the start initially. No, is that just me or?
No, I mean, to an extent, I mean, I was never like that bothered by it initially. But the other thing of having her cry all the goddamn time is when we get to the Rancor arc, and Orihime finally, kind of freaking loses it. Like, because Orihime's whole thing is, I gotta smile and, be happy for everyone. And then, when she has her heart to heart with Rengoku and says, I'm not happy, I'm jealous, I feel like a terrible fucking human being, God, what is wrong with me? Like, it doesn't nearly have the same impact.
Yeah, because by that point it sounds like, well, that's what you always do. You're always whinging, because in the anime she was always whinging, but in the manga she was actually being rather strong and assertive all the time and denying herself that expression of it actually a lot more, because she was very much like always like no in her head going, I need to be like Ichigo. She wasn't very much acting it out. At least it didn't feel that way in the manga by comparison in that arc. I have read that arc. I didn't read the first arc in the manga. Sorry, on the next ones. So I don't think Orihime translated very well into the anime. Full stop there. Gonna stop distracting. Take the shovel. Someone take the shovel. Take the stick. Take the talkie stick.
Yeah, wait, hold on, future. I'm just seeing what you posted in After Dark. Garfieldy?
Garfeldy, yes.
Is that really the translator? I'm assuming that's Italian. What?
Okay, I
what
might
is
have to
this?
explain this. So I've been like obsessed with this one video from a YouTuber named Salty DK Dan, and he did a stream a while back where he and his friends were playing Minecraft, and they came across this one picture of Timmy Turner as like a yellow cat, and they labeled it Garfeldy, and they spent like hours upon hours just losing their shit over it. So
So you
I
and
just felt like thinking something stupid like that.
Really? It's the fonts that just takes it over the top and makes it a masterclass work of art. Just Garfeldy. It's like Gucci, but worse.
I love anything that references Grimjo being a cat. Like it's always like a wee purdy kitty.
Yeah. Anyway, he's not for like a couple hundred
Sorry.
chapters.
Sorry. See, that was your. That was not my fault. I did not deflect that conversation initially. That was not my fault, Sil.
I'm still blaming you.
Well, since we're on the topic of the anime, there before you continue, Sil, there is actually one thing the anime changed that I actually did like. I know this is a horrible sacrilegious thing I'm saying, but I do like making Rand Fisher kind of like a secondary antagonist, like the first 10 episodes, so that there is some sort of linking thread and that it's not just like a bunch of random monsters. I mean, unfortunately, they cut out the one scene that would actually make it make sense like 100 episodes down the line. But I think the right idea was there. And I think the live action movie kind of took the same idea and went like a step further.
I don't think so. I think that was also a bad thing.
Oh,
Because
debate me.
I mean,
Not me. It was a joke. I'm sorry. Stop.
She can if she wants, but my idea is that like, it doesn't fit with Grant Fisher's character to be like that. To be this like manipulating chess master, ordering other hollows. He's a solo guy. And it was really supposed to be by chance that he ran into Ichigo again. Or rather that like, he didn't remember that someone had survived seeing him, which is not supposed to happen. And so
Well, first of all, I'm going to just pause you right there. Your first mistake is assuming that any character adaptations make sense to begin with. But in the context of what's actually happening, since we've already gone to the point where characters are butchered in translation, it's like, fuck, why
well,
not?
I'm still not going to excuse it happening just because they have other characters. Like it doesn't really work because the thing for me is that like, the fact that they led up to him in this like 9-episode mini arc or whatever, and then he just fucking runs away. He doesn't get the scene of like transforming into Masaki, so Ichigo can't attack him. He doesn't get that scene of being rebuilt in Mundo, so he can go back and get round 2 of a fight. Like it feels super rushed and
Not
loses a lot of the impact.
Misaki in the anime.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Or are you talking about in the live action?
No, in the manga he does. He doesn't happen in the anime where he's supposed to be built up as his threat. Like he just kind of jumps in the air. He's like, "I'll be screw you, Soul Reaper." And it's like it's so lame.
Why do you sound like a freaking Scooby-Doo character?
That's what he becomes. He
I'd have got away with it if it weren't for you pesky kids.
It's so lame how the fight ends there. Like it doesn't have any of.
It totally gets Team Rocketed, but I thought it was
just see
good
him
that
like
Isha
I can
was
just
the
see
one
him shaking his fist,
initially
being like,
first
"I would
got
have
on.
gotten away with it too." Curse is spoiled again.
Yeah, no,
Curse you,
I mean, that's
Ichigo
what sounds
Kurosaki.
like.
She's blasting up again.
In the manga, it was him vowing to like, we'll meet again and I will kill you then. And here just like, you beat me. Like, and this is the guy that was a build up as like a major threat for 9 episodes. So no.
Yeah, no. I'm not going to disagree with you that it's lame. Like, no, I agree that it's lame. And I still can't figure out to this day why they cut out the Arankar stuff. Because I've been like, huh? That's an interesting thing. What's that?
So the thing is, like, in that context, making him this like overarching like mini villain is worse than if he was just a random schmuck they ran into, like in the manga, who ended up being a bigger threat than anticipated. Because now the payoff isn't there. The payoff that they set up is not there because they cut it out from the fucking adaptation. God fucking damn this fucking studio. Ugh.
Also, curse the production committee too, because without them, none of this would be possible.
Hey, I wouldn't have given you something to whinge about.
Yeah,
Sorry, critically
I've-
analyzed. Please don't take that offensively. What are
I've
you
gotten
joking?
it out. I'm gonna quiet down for the sake of my roommate. But yes, that's my take on fucking Grant Fisher in the anime.
So, do you want to like elaborate a wee bit more?
on
or-
what? I thought I'm pretty sure I covered what I could about fucking Grant Fisher, but if you want, I can go deeper on something.
What about in the live action though? What did you say about? What do you think of what you said about the live action part?
I didn't say anything about the live action part in this specific conversation.
Do you have anything to say on that? Because you also said that.
I like the movie. I think it's a decent way to condense that arc into the format of a movie. It's not perfect, but I think they made some good casting choices. I think they did the best what they could with a live action anime movie budget. I think the halls look pretty good. I think the changes made felt more faithful than felt more in good faith than Pierre's did. And I wish there'd been a sequel. There you go.
I heard rumors they actually might be doing a sequel because they're actually making 2 sequels to the live action FMA movie, and no one fucking liked that.
There was a live action FMA movie?
But the sequels are coming out in a couple months.
The live action FMA movie?
It's not good. Yeah, it's not good
Oh, Jesus.
at all.
I feel like I heard about it like a long time ago, and it just like was in the very back of my mind palace, and now.
Oh God, I remember now. It's the yeah, I remember.
Oh, it's even better. They had a trailer. No, they had a trailer, and it looks like in 2 movies that are coming out like 1 month after each other, they're literally going to adapt the rest of the whole manga in 2 fucking movies.
Oh no. Oh no.
No,
That's a choice.
no, I hear that story took years to tell.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anime adaptations. They're long. So then they get crunched. No. It's like the opposite. It's like this is like what it must have felt. The opposite what it felt like, the Hobbit adaptation.
Well, first of all, the worst anime adaptation that I've seen is the live action Blood, the Last Vampire movie. I just, and the worst thing that it does is they have Saya, and I don't know who the fuck the other girl's name is. She's not fucking important. Basically, a lot of it is very like homoerotic. Like there's like some major heavy queer baiting going on, to the point where at this point that's the only thing that you're rooting for because everything else in the movie sucks so much, and then they take that away from you. So it's like, fuck you, I've just wasted 2 hours of my life.
Yeah, I remember that night where you basically held me hostage and made me watch it. Of course, you're also the one who made me watch Oogie Loves, so...
Look, Oogie Loves and the Great Balloon Adventure is a cinematic classic that should be taught in film schools all around the world and should be set as an example of everything you should never fucking do in a movie. So anyway, since we're still kind of talking a little bit about Memories in the Rain, let's talk about like some of the other anime only stuff that they've added, and it's just, God, why was this necessary? Why did you waste time and money making this?
So, I'm gonna say see filler in the first arc, right? See that whole stuff with Cone running away for the day. Was that filler or was that in the manga?
I think it was expanded upon in the manga. Like, I think most of the stuff that happens in the manga takes place only over like 2 chapters, where in the anime it goes over like 2 episodes, and it's kind of like a mini arc. Which, why the hell would you
Don't
make
say
a
it.
mini
Don't
arc
say it.
about
Don't
Cone?
think it.
And then
Don't
I just
say it.
realized
Don't
as I was
think it.
talking about this that
Don't say it. Don't think it.
they made a whole arc about Cone, and then they made a bunch of filler episodes. What was the fascination with Cone? like now I think about it, like Piero like had this strange fascination with Cone that like half the time there was filler, you know, we had to make Cone like a main character. Like, why?
Because he's the harmless perv that they can make stuff out of. I don't know.
Right, but I'm remembering correctly, there's like at least 3 mini arcs of Cone, and then we have one Cone focused arc. Just why?
Because he's the. I don't know. I like those characters in Japan. I don't know. I'm sorry. It wasn't me. I didn't make it. Oh my god. I got Eva. What the fuck? Sorry. Oh, censored,
Oh,
censored,
poor
censored.
Eva.
Sorry, Eva. Sorry.
There are no censors in Bossing Say. Any
Uh,
way.
no. There is
There's
no
no
more Bossing
cryptocurrency in
Say.
Bossing.
There is no Doge in Bossing Say.
or as the truth is, there is no substance in this NFT.
No. The avatar version of Bitcoin would be, I don't know, like cabbage coin.
No, they have cabbage coin, and then they would have
God.
My cabbages.
oh Jesus, Lake Lao guy. Shit, like after it was exposed as a massive fraud, someone would make like Lake Lao guy coin. Or NFTs of the creepy lady who says, "Oh, no, the emperor, blah blah," and they're like, "Oh, it's
What about a Jet NFT?
I like one of those interviews. You ever see like when the Trump interviews, and the people go like, so Trump's still president, yeah, and it's like, then why are you still blaming Joe Biden for everything? Oh, because he did everything. It's like, but you just said he's not president. Surely it's Trump's fault. I love those ones because they're like, oh no, he's not president, but he's at blame, and it's like, well then he's president, right? It's like they have to give a win, and they just refuse to either way. Sorry. I'm gonna stop
So
talking.
what was this about cabbage
Stop
coin?
talking. Why do you? It's like, don't piss on my leg
whenever
and
he
tell
goes
me it's
silent,
raining.
it
It's
is
that
just
sort
to
of
make you
shit.
uncomfortable, son. That's the only reason."
I know. I know.
Was there anything else with the first
Or
arc?
maybe because I've just met you.
Was there anything else with the first arc we wanted to cover?
So that
Yeah.
Cone
Uh,
obsession was the
and
anime.
even then, it's weird because they kind of fucked up his. I struggle to call it a solo chapter because it was really just like a gag chapter, but like they mixed it in with the they shuffled it around, and instead of having it like before the Dankananji or before or shortly after the Dankananji sort of fight, they had it mixed with the last night Rukia spent in Karakura Town, where she's like struggling to decide like, oh, should I tell Ichigo what's happening or whatever? And so the focus for both is diminished. I don't know why they did that, because it wasn't necessary it wasn't even necessary addition. It just was added because Pierre's fucking incomprehensible. They're a fucking eldritch abomination of a studio. Nothing they do makes sense. Yeah.
October's gonna be interesting. As much as we shit on Puro, look, I think the people who worked for them
Yeah.
are super talented. Like, all the animators are all underpaid and they deserve more. I do think Masashi Kudo does do a great job at translating Kubo's designs into something that can work
Yes.
on screen. What we're criticizing are the
Yeah.
financial decisions, which most of them probably are out of the creative team's hands, and they're either studio mandates or mandates from the production team. Because the object of a production committee is to make money. It's not to make high art.
It's not. It's to sell ads. Yeah. I mean, not. I'm saying it's not for high ad. I mean, like the ads, basically ad space. They need to feel like they can do the ad space. Yeah.
Yeah, I will never criticize the animators who were doing their best what they had.
That's what
or
they generally
the,
do. Yeah.
Who's the guy who did the music?
Ashiro Sagasu.
Yeah, Sagashi, great composer. He really elevated the anime beyond what like it was. It gave Bleach a great soundtrack. I will never like do that. I will criticize the production team's choices and the writers that come from it, but not like the grunts and the people who did the good parts of the anime. So just to be clear.
And, for all the faults, I still enjoy the first season of the anime. I mean, is it rough? Yeah. But it's what got me into Bleach, and Bleach came in a time in my life that was not great, and it eventually led me to the wiki. So I'll never disown it, but I think it finally, in the Soul Society arc, got into a good flow. It's kind of a shame that there was so much filler, because I feel like every time they finally got something good going, no, we got to do a filler arc, because God forbid we can't have our animators rest and split everything up in the cores. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh no. What if we lose our time slot for like 12 weeks? Ah! You know.
Yeah, there's a. I think it doesn't mean you hate something when you're critical of some decisions made, because if we're not critical, it'll not be better in the future. So, like, it's not to say, like, because they did do an amazing job. It got me into it. It came in a part in my life. 2008. It was around the time I just came out of a breakup, and my granny died. So it did help me get over it. And my granny, if anyone knows my history, my granny was she basically was the closest person I was to anyone because of my past. And so it got me around it too. But still, there are problematic elements of it and problematic decisions made that might not have translated to certain kinds of characterizations that came across as true instead of what that character made you feel. Because I really don't like how much in the fandom, for example, that Orihime is considered weak, and those rooted problems originate here. I feel very much so in the adaptation, even though I love that arc. So it's important to kind of reflect on that, but still say it still got me into it, but we can still do better. Do you know what I mean? That way, am I coming across right?
No, you're coming across fine.
Constructive criticism. It's not to say it's meant to improve. It's to say we can believe you can do better. That way. There we go.
Future, because you came in a little bit later into the wiki. How did you get started with Bleach, and like, how do you kind of feel about the first season? God, 18 years later.
Well, I didn't really get into Bleach until like I want to say senior year of high school is when I started getting into it. That was like 2012. So I didn't really start on the anime until I'd already come onto the wiki, and that wasn't until like freshman year of college. So, and like I think my first exposure to it was the aforementioned. No, wait. No. It was God, the Zanpakuto arc.
Nice.
That was like my first exposure to the
Nice. You love to see it.
Yeah, that was my first exposure to the anime. So like I've only seen like clips of the first arc, but like just based on what you guys are telling me, like yeah, a lot of cut corners there. 'Cause like if you do go back and look at like early Bleach, like it does read more like a non-traditional shonen, but then like as it went along started getting more into the battle manga stuff, and I think Kubo did try to go back with like the Fullbring arc, but we know how that one ended. So
Who was it that always said that Bleach should have been a seinen?
Tell. I mean, there's points to be made there.
Just
but
asking
yeah,
if it was
he
you guys. I
the
didn't know. Just
proponent of it,
sorry.
yeah.
It's a long time ago. Just asking. Like it does have elements like that, doesn't it? Like that there's something in there that maybe a younger audience, believe it, might not get.
Oh no, like Bleach, I feel like always has trended more towards the older end of shonen.
I was 20 when I came into
and
it,
just
so I was 20.
yeah, well, Weekly Shonen Jump, the targeted demographic is 8 to 14-year-old boys. That doesn't mean it's exclusively for boys, but that's generally, when they decide what series gets serialized, that's the demographic they are leaning towards the most.
Publishers are always trying to sell ad space, so they will always market it towards someone to try and maximize massive amounts of people purchasing from certain people. Is that right? Is that what I mean? Yeah. So that
Mhm.
clearly, yeah, which kind of speaks volumes again in the adaptation. I need to stop. That's the point. Stop repeating obvious points.
I guess because we got to wrap this up soon. Just talk about the last half of the anime. I guess getting into the Soul Society arc, just so we can transition. I guess.
So you said something way back, and I just wanted to ask about it. Why chapter 51?
Chapter 51 is the first chapter after the end of the Manos Grande confrontation. So like literally it ends around chapter 50, and like Ichigo is saved by Uryu and all that. And by that point, we've had Sato and Orihime get their powers, and get their own fights for the first time and all that. Well, Sato's and Shrieker, but it's not quite the same. And right after that point, um, there's not really any breather chapters between that and Renji and Byakuya showing up and taking Rukia. So from that, it's literally like the first thing that happens is you get real Shinigami showing up, showing off how powerful they are, showing off Shikai and what advanced speed looks like. And then from that, you launch immediately into the first training arc of the series. Ichigo with Urahara, Orihime and Sato with Yoruichi, and Uryu by himself. And so there's it from that point forward. It's all like go go go. There's no more slice of life random chapters where everyone's just kind of goofing around. It's a fundamental transition in the nature of the series to its current ongoing like battle focused nature. Which so that's why it's the kind of dividing line for me. And I think the mandate for Kubo to go to the Soul Society arc as soon as possible came down like around that time that he was working on Chapter 51, because even in uh that those Leo chapters, like Tatsuki was still getting focused as like a potential fifth spiritually powered like friend of Ichigo's, and then she's kind of shuffled off and it's like, oh, you went to a tournament in Japan. Yes. So
It's like, oh yeah, you're the second strongest girl in
yeah.
Japan, but we'll do
So
nothing
that's
with it.
why I say that is the dividing line for Bleach. It's more than just like chapter 71 is the easier one because literally to serve a new arc, but this is like where the nature of the series changed, if that makes sense. So yeah, you can read it in hindsight. Like once you finish it, you go back and read it. Like, oh yeah, no, this is where it all changed. Like this is where the focus of Ichigo and Bleach and the cast changed fundamentally. Because before that, training arcs were kind of a joke. Like Ichigo didn't take them seriously. He was like, oh, a pitching machine, I was getting every ball, and because you don't hit every ball, you fucking idiot. Uh, and then now it's like, oh, it's a proper training arc. Okay, all right.
But yeah, those first 50-ish chapters, like Bleach is a way more episodic series. And it doesn't really become like this serialized thing where if you miss a chapter, like you're gonna have
Yeah,
no clue what's
basically.
happening whatsoever until we get to that point.
I wonder if for me, like, cause like, I know I'm so obsessed with spectrums at the minute, Amta. But like, is it like so? You're basically saying that I guess chapter 71 would be the more obvious choice of when it's definitely happening, but that's when you see the trend start. Then, yeah, when it really starts to kick up
Yeah,
that way, when it becomes more
yeah,
shonenly like, and
y-
less
yeah.
kind of character development.
Yeah, chapter 71 is a setting change. Chapter 51 is a tone change and a content change. Which is more significant to me. It's still part of the same arc, but it is a different version of the series as we know it.
So, like, would you say it's a successful first arc, or like, cause like, what's the first arc meant to do? Introduce you to the characters and then set up the whole thing, right? So, would you say
Well, yes, I would say it is successful at establishing the characters and setting up plot points to be resolved later on. Even in the back 20 chapters where things are different, I think it is successful at doing that. I think that it is hamstrung by having to rush through so fast all of a sudden. When like I think it easily could have gone to chapter 100 with the same pacing and style of the first 50. I think that may have been what Kubo intended, something in that ballpark. But it's not it is not made bad by that, but it does
Yeah.
clash with the rest of the series as the power ceiling keeps going up and up, and as the emphasis goes more and more on training and matching new threats, where that wasn't really the focus of that first 50. As the fucking like just like to give you an idea of how drastic the shift is, like even the anime, like they kept the idea that like the Manos Grande that shows up in Karakura Town is like the boss of the Hollows. It's this huge threat that Ichigo can just kind of scare off for a bit. He's not even ready to defeat it, and then yeah, oh yeah, obviously the Royal Guard's responsibility.
The royal
And then,
family. I
like,
mean, that's serious
before
squad.
we even get to the Zanpakuto arc, where like every captain, every lieutenant can just like effortlessly take these guys apart, even though Renji was like, "Oh, you know, how no one can really do that. No one can scratch a Manos Grande." Even before that, the anime in its adaptation of the Ishido mini arc that Kubo did cut on the manga, they do that there. They do that there too. Like it's effortless, like destruction of these massive hollows that were supposed to be this huge threat, by everyone involved. And it's not even like commented on as like, oh, look how much stronger we are. It's just a fact of where they are then. And like with the idea that this was something that Kubo was going to write in, like I think that was his idea at the time. So that kind of gives the idea of like where how things changed, just so significantly within the span of, I guess, 200 chapters. I think is it's about the ballpark. Like those 200 chapters just like are total different beasts from the first 50 in terms of power progression and the focus on becoming the strongest and blah blah blah. And it's more popular that way. And you know that's the caveat I give whenever I explain this is that like without the shift, we might not know of Bleach. It might not have lasted nearly as long as it has. We wouldn't have some of the great moments that come later, uh, from the new style. But you know, it's not wrong to kind of wish that it had stayed as it was. In an ideal world, it could have, uh, you know, become a successful series, even with that. But that's the way it is, unfortunately.
Well, what I kind of hope is that with Burn the Witch, that maybe it can be more, and at least to me, that's what it seems like. It's more like, okay,
Yeah,
there's all these different dragons, and we fight a different one each arc. Like, I don't see like a big giant eyes in level thing. It's just they're demons, or this world's equivalent of a demon, and that's what it is.
yeah. No, Burn the Witch is more in line with what Bleach used to be, and it's been a breath of fresh air because of that. Like, you're not really. It doesn't even feel like it's setting up for like a training arc for anyone. It's just this is their established level of power. This is how they're gonna deal with threats, all of that. Well, no more once season 2 comes out 50 years from now or whenever. Um, I know I'm being optimistic.
Honestly, I think Burn the Witch season 2 is going to come out before the next Song of Ice and Fire book comes out. Like, I can guarantee you.
Oh yeah, no, because George R. Martin is like, I have like 5 other writing projects we're gonna do first, and then I'm gonna add 5 more. Fucking Marathons.
Yeah, I'm convinced the man's afraid to end
don't
it. I
know,
don't
maybe.
think he'll ever be satisfied with the end, and this is like his Mona Lisa. He'll never be satisfied. Because they say that Leonardo da Vinci kept working on the Mona Lisa to the end, right? Didn't they? He was never satisfied, right? Right?
I don't know. I should know this, but I don't.
I'm uncultured? Remember, I'm uncultured, right? Got you. Maybe in the media sense.
No, yeah, yeah, you still are. You don't know Danny Phantom. That's more important.
All right, so those were a bunch of random, but somehow still coherent thoughts about the substitute arc. We will cover the Soul Society arc, and since the Soul Society arc is massive, we might be splitting them up into 2 episodes. We haven't quite figured out the logistics on that yet. But until next time, I'm Lemurs.
I'm Sun.
I'm more awake.
Carpeldi.
All right, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time.
Hi guys, this is Nell. I want to thank you for watching the video. If you like what you see, click the video links above. If you want to be notified about our latest videos, please like and subscribe below. Oh, and don't forget that bell icon. Man, that was a lot. I'm totally out of breath.